What's up, YouTube? If you clicked on this video, you most likely have an LML Duramax 6.7 Power Stroke, 6.7 Cummins in a few years, or any other motor that runs one of these bad boys, the CP4 injection pump. Now, the CP4 injection pump is not as bad as people say. I know the forums can scare you a little bit, but if you take care of your fuel system and you do these 3 steps, the CP4 shouldn't even be a problem. You can go to bed without thinking about your truck exploding on a random day. So let's get into it. Alright, before I show you these 3 tips, I'm gonna explain what happened to my CP4. Now, what happened to my CP4 is that nothing happened. What happened was I was going through forums. I had a big trip planned out, about 16-hour drive, and my pump had about 120K on it. And I've heard in forums that around 140K, you're gonna go on a big drive like that and boom, your CP4 goes out. So what I did before the trip was I bit the bullet and I put a CP3 in it. Now that did cost an arm and a leg, especially where I am in Southwest Florida. The rates are pretty expensive. But when I took it apart, when I got back home and I got the CP4 from the mechanic, I did not need to replace this pump because I had all the 3 things I'm about to talk about. And this pump could have gone for I don't even know how long. There was literally no wear on it. But now I'll get into the 3 things that you need to make sure that your CP4 is bulletproofed, as people like to say. Alright, to get into the big 3, first one is a good fuel additive. Fuel additive people sleep on. I mean, it's the cheapest insurance you can get. It's maybe 20 bucks. You can run it every other fuel tank. I think a bottle of mine lasts maybe, I'm not sure, maybe 5 tanks. But it depends on how much you use, and if you double it up, the performance dose, whatever brand you have will tell you how much to put in. Personally, I run Hot Shots. I have buddies that run Ultra Oil. I have buddies that run, what's it called? I think it's called Diesel 911 or something. They're all the same. They all lubricate the diesel. And that's the main downfall in these CP4 pumps is these rollers here. Sometimes, imagine this is the camshaft. This is another roller. It's supposed to ride like that on the camshaft. It can turn to where it runs sideways and the camshaft just sits there almost like a cheese grater. It'll just grade that metal, and that's what causes all that metal shaving. So, you know, right out the pump, diesel fuel in US is very unlubricated. So adding a cheap insurance like a fuel additive, it just makes the fuel lubricated. It can help your injectors too. So that's that. Number two is a little bit more expensive, but it is a lift pump. Fast makes a lift pump. AirDog makes a lift pump. My truck has an AirDog, and my CP4 had fuel additive used all the time and a diesel lift pump. And when I tell you there was no sign of wear, no signs of glitter, metal shavings, there was nothing. I could have ran this pump for so much longer because I had these things, and I wish I knew, or somebody would have told me that I was fine, but the forums got in my head. Don't let them get in your head. But if you have a lift pump, you're good. You have the big dog out the way. Now, if you don't have a lift pump, it could be pretty expensive to put one in, depending on if you have a shop do it or if you do it yourself. I'm not sure what the installation process is like, but I know it's somewhat intense. Not too intense, but you got to know what you're doing. But if you don't have a lift pump, get one. If you do have a lift pump, you're fine. Now, number three is easy. Anybody can do it. You have to do it anyways, so why not? Is your fuel filter. I do my fuel filters every other oil change, and it just helps you. It's cheap insurance again, just like the fuel additive. It's cheap insurance, and it'll help your pump outlive the motor maybe. So, and honorable mention, I don't know anything about this. I haven't done research, but the disaster kits. I know a lot of people swear by the disaster kits. I'm not sure if you can install one on LML. I know that the 6.7 Power Stroke you can. I think S&S Diesel makes one. I'm sure there's other brands that make them too. But that's the big 3 to go over it again. Fuel additive, lift pump, fast or AirDog, and fuel filters every other oil change. You should be doing your fuel filters anyways on a timely manner. Every other oil change is a good interval because, yeah, usually 10,000 miles. So, all right, so now let's get into taking apart the CP4, seeing what fails, and just the different components of a CP4. The more knowledge you have on it, the better understanding you got and it'll make all sense to you. All right. So here's a couple parts from the inside of a CP4. This is not all of them, but this is just some of the main ones. If you've done your research on a CP4, you know about this thing. It's a fuel pressure regulator. And a lot of times when they grenade, people post that glitter is all in that little screen there. And yeah. So there's a thing online where you can buy one of these for 300 bucks that has a different screen on it. It claims that it can, if it grenades, that it'll stop all the metal shavings. Personally, I have no experience with this, but I've heard only bad things about it. People say that it doesn't even work, but the main thing is your CP4 sitting in your engine bay like this. You got this sensor, and right now, as it sits in your engine bay, this is a closed system. Once you take this apart to put that sensor in, and it's not an easy place to get to, so it's pretty down there. Now you have exposed the CP4 to outside contaminants, and it is insanely easy to knock some dirt in there, knock some whatever, and that will grenade your CP4 if you get any debris in there. That is like the easiest way to contaminate a CP4, and it's not good. So 300 bucks could cost you 10 grand for no reason. A better solution is the disaster kit like I was talking about. I have no research on that, so I can't say much, but I know that a lot of people swear by them. That's about it. So next, move that to the side. The rollers. This is what causes that metal shaving. So these rollers ride on a camshaft. I'm not sure if I can get a good shot of this, but there's a camshaft inside of that CP4. And these rollers ride on the lobe of the camshaft, so when it goes up and down. And what can happen is these things riding on the camshaft can turn, like I said, a cheese grater. It would just make a flat spot and just cause all that glitter to be in that fuel line. Alright, next. Still need the rollers for this. This is the piston. So this is what compresses all that fuel and creates it into high pressure fuel. This is what pumps the fuel. So that roller sits on that camshaft, and this spring, I mean, ooh, I can hardly compress that. But this roller runs, it goes up and down. See if I can get a good shot of that. Up and down, presses that piston down, and that's what creates your fuel pressure. Here's it without the spring. Look at that, clearance pretty crazy, or tolerance. But so these are the main culprits of the glitter that you see inside your CP4. Now, like I said, if you can see that top of that roller looks pretty pristine. For 120,000 miles, for basically no signs of wear, it is almost stupid not to put fuel additive, especially a lift pump, and change your fuel filters. Now, if you do 2 out of 3, I know a lot of people don't have $1,000, $1,500 laying around that they can put a fuel pump on their truck or a lift pump. But fuel additive and fuel filters, every other oil change, is something that like anybody can do, especially if you do it yourself. I do everything on my truck myself except for putting a CP3 in. But most of the normal maintenance, it is not hard to do a fuel filter. I know I was afraid because I didn't want to airlock the fuel system and not start. But if you watch a YouTube video on it, it is completely easy to purge the system, and it's so easy. It's just like an oil filter. But yeah, that is the main components of a CP4 injection pump and what you can do to prevent CP4 failure. If you just bought one of these trucks and you're watching videos and going down a rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, is my CP4 good? Is it gonna explode? Is my truck bad? Did I make a bad decision? You did not. You're good. If you do at least 2 out of 3 of those, you should be fine, and your CP4 is probably fine. It is way overhyped, but with that being said, it is still possible. So take care of your truck, take care of your fuel system, put good diesel fuel in, and yeah, some people say go to the same gas station every time, but if you have the money laying around and you want to eliminate the CP4 worry, a CP3 conversion, or for a power stroke, I think it's called an SDR pump, that will really put your mind at ease, but you don't need to. So thanks for watching the video. Comment down below if I missed anything, And also any questions you have, I'll try to answer, and kind of use that comment space as a forum, because I've learned so much from YouTube videos, and especially YouTube comment sections. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment, and I'll see you on the next one.